Maurice McGee, and we have a lot to talk about. Welcome back to Untold Truth, where we're talking about things that people really deep down, they know what's going on, they know what's happening around them, but really just don't want to talk about it, don't want to acknowledge it, just go along with the system that has been put in place. If this is your first time watching, please go back. Please. We're building the case here to open up our eyes of what's really around us and what has been built. And there's a common thread in the first two videos where we talked about breakfast and where we talked about our food culture. What's that common thread? Well, that common thread is that we have been taught. We've been taught about breakfast, when to eat it, how to eat it, and what to eat during that time. We were taught that. We were taught that as children. Notice I said children and not kids, because a kid is a baby goat. Well, why were we taught these things that are so off, that are wrong? Why were we taught this? Why did we subject ourselves to it? Why did we send our children to be taught? Well, minorities, including African Americans, who look back on their past, wants to rush to get a sense of identity in this place that has been built off their backs. And not just African Americans, but other minorities as well. Then you have everyone else that just doesn't want their children to have to work as hard as they did growing up. They don't want their children to have to grind and hustle and bustle to live. So they push them to get a higher education, because that's what we were told. We were told if you got a higher education, that was the ticket to the easy life. So instead of giving our child away here when it was time, when they were adults and they were ready to move on with their life, instead of giving them away here, we gave them away here. You probably know where I'm going with this and what our first topic is. The school system. Aren't you getting school spirit just thinking about it? Yeah, a place where you can go to learn, to become a better you, to learn with your friends and to go and have fun. Yeah, a place where you learn how to be smart. Learn how the world works. Place to go to get discipline. Learn strong discipline and principles. To learn skills and talents. Yeah. So that you're prepared for society and that you can get a great job one day. If you work really hard and you do what you were told, and you know, and dream big, you can be whatever you want to be. And you set yourself up for success. world is just ready for you after you graduate. And it's just there waiting for you.
There's a comfortable chair that's always happy to see you.
Waiting for you, and you're hired. Just like that, you have your dream life. You have all the money you need. You can now take care of your family and buy your dream house. Buy your dream car. It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah, let's go check it out. Yeah, and showcase the dream. What dream? The American dream, of course. How about the American lie? Now, hold on, Maurice. I don't know if I'm following you on this one. See, because our education, it's the key. It's the key to excelling in life. And, I have children that, they did well in school and now they have great jobs. So I don't know where you're going with this. Well, if your children or you went to school and you got a great job, I say congratulations to you. In fact, we all say good job. Good job.
Dr. Homie Founder?
Trust me, I'm not hating on you and your education, because I have a degree myself and I have a good paying job and I'm able to take care of my family. And if you were able to land that great job, you probably feel very proud of yourself. But I'm here to tell you that this was a gamble, a huge gamble. And there's a house rule with gambling. I'm sure many of you probably already know it. What's the house rule for gambling? Well, the house rule for gambling is that the house always wins. And if you didn't realize it, that's the White House that I'm referring to here. You see, you may have thought you were doing right by your children by sending them here to be educated, to learn. But you were really just sending them here to prison. A place where they would have to learn to conform, to obey the rules, to do what they're told when they're told to do it, to pledge their allegiance and commit themselves to a society, a system, a flag. I better not dare say anything bad about the flag, because if I say something bad about not honoring the flag, then I'm not honoring our troops that gave their lives for our peace and safety today. That couldn't be the furthest from the truth. How many of those same troops are out there in those graves that were forced to go out there and fight? They were drafted in the war and drug out to the field and a gun thrown in their hand. Otherwise, they would be thrown in prison to fight a war that they didn't even understand, to fight a war that was funded by the same people, both sides of the war. Please, I have respect for our troops. But you have to realize that we have been forced to conform to the system. That's not really even for us. But for those that played by the rules and did what they were told when they were told, they got thrown a bone here and there. Some of them did anyway. But listen, I don't care how you slice it. I don't care how you dress it up. But a hamster wheel is still a hamster wheel. Rat race is still a rat race. And I'm not interested. You shouldn't be either. Have we even sat to think about what our children really need and what's good for them? Of course not. We're too busy. We got important work to do. It's the school's job to raise our children. It's my job to make money and pay the bills. But it's the government's job to put good plans in place to teach my children what they need to know. You all seen what happened with this here pandemic, where we had to work from home. Our pets were competing for our time. Our children demanding our time, but we don't have time to take care of our children, to make them feel special and beautiful and smart. No, we don't have time for that because we have work to do. They need to learn how to sit down and be quiet and learn how to work too. That's what school does. Teaches them that. That's why they need to be in school. No. Our children have needs too. You know, it was Abraham Maslow who created the theory of human motivation back in 1943. And there's 5 levels of motivation that a human needs to be satisfied. There's survival, safety, social, esteem, and fulfillment. And guess what? It's not just adults who need this. Our children need it too. And when you take children and group them together and put them in a school with other children the same age, guess what? They form a pack. And where you have a pack, you have to have pack mentality. See, we fail to realize the psychological implication to things that we do, that we are a part of. But the people that control this system, that have put it in place, they understand the psychological implications. They understand human behavior. See, when we're put in a pack, someone has to be in charge. Someone has to dominate. Someone has to set the rules and the tone. And if you don't conform or fall in line, you'll meet the consequences. This is why we see bullying and other things in our schools, because the system that is put in place. When I was in school, I remember being handed a note in class, and I opened it up and I saw all the names of my classmates, including mine. And there was a rating scale, and there were instructions that you had to rate each classmate. Each one of my peers, I had to rate them. So immediately I went to my name. Before I rated anything, I wanted to see where I was stacking. I was mostly average. I had a 5 here, 4 there. That was depressing. I saw a 6. I said, okay, that's something. Saw a 7. Oh, okay. Then I saw an 8. That meant you kind of up there. You're attractive, popular. And the one that gave me that rating was actually one of the prettiest girls in our class. So now I'm really feeling good about myself. And I'm not talking high school. No, this was only like the 2nd or 3rd grade. See, when we're put in these kind of positions, you're forced to compete. Amongst all of these children, someone has to dominate. Someone has to submit. Someone has to pass. Someone has to fail. The things that we don't talk about is that you have children that has done everything that they can, even against the odds of the neighborhood they were in. Even they slaved in school and did everything that they were supposed to, and they still found themselves here. There's an article that shows that 27%, only 27% of graduates actually have a job that's related to their degree. The others are working either meaningless jobs or they didn't get one. But we really don't talk about that. We really don't talk about the rise in suicides amongst our young people. How our young people suicide rate has increased by 56% since the last decade. We don't talk about how 500,000 children disappear annually. They're missing, just gone. We don't talk about that. And while we're on the subject of suicide, it's not just young children. I mean, it's babies too. We have babies that are taking their own lives. Why is that? Is it because things are not really looking up? You have to compete amongst all of these children, and there's not really enough jobs that they promised. There's really not that much hope out there because you can see the world around you. Then we're being taught things like natural selection and that we came from apes. So then you have children that are forced to make themselves higher on the hierarchy, higher on the totem pole. Yeah. This is exactly what Adolf Hitler believed in. that man came from apes, natural selection. And we're teaching this to our children. And yet we're wondering why we're seeing the rise in violence in this fashion. Do you remember back when they were telling us how too much screen time was bad for our children and how it was messing up their minds? And we saw that and we reacted to it and nope. We tried to protect our children for a little bit, but society kept pushing it down our throats and we couldn't keep them away. Couldn't keep them away from the screen. But what did our society do about it? What did they do about it? They gave us more screens. They gave our children more screens and put them in more classrooms and sent them home with them. Screen for you, screen for me, screen for everybody. All so that we can lust after that glorious job. Because if we work real hard, we can get one. And we don't have to be poor. For our children that are coming up, we teach them how to practice to fall in line into the same system. But we buy them toys for them to practice. How about instead of programming our children to fall into the same traps that we're in, we actually teach them how to be self-reliant? How about we teach them how to take care of themselves? How about we teach them how to build and actually think for themselves? Let's just face it, a lot of us can't think our way out of a paper bag. How about we actually teach our children on how to build, find their own water and grow their own food, build their own communities with their own hands? How about we actually teach, period? How about we teach our own children, the ones who actually love them and want the best for them? How about we teach them? Now I know this may seem like a daunting task and just horrific. I had the same conversations with my wife, and early on in our marriage we were talking about homeschooling our children, not giving them away to society. We were on board with that, but when it got closer to the time to actually execute, my wife was horrified. She stated she just didn't feel qualified to teach them. What if they can't compete with the others? What if I just don't do good enough of a job? I don't know if I'm up for this. I don't want them to fail because of me. My daughter is so bright and she's got a future ahead of her. I don't want to mess it up. I grabbed my wife and I told her, listen, I married you. You are smart. You're an educated woman. You have a degree. And it's not even about all of that. I married you. I didn't marry society. I didn't marry the government. I didn't marry the school system. I married you. You're going to teach my children. We're not preparing our children for society. We're preparing our children for life. If we prepare our children for society, they might miss out on life. I told her, but if we prepare our children for life, they will get through society just fine. From then on out, my wife was excited and she was prepared, and we did what we had to do when we got the resources and we got what we needed. And we began to teach our children ourselves, and they're growing and they're bright. And my wife is doing just fine, and our children are doing just fine. And my wife is actually even tutoring other children while I continue to work. As I think and pray about how we can break free from this system altogether. Because I tell you what, that glorious job that you're fighting for, it's already in jeopardy. And I know we didn't get to talk very much about the school system in of itself. We're gonna get there. We're gonna talk more about it in our next video. But like I said, that job, it's in jeopardy. It's not gonna take very long, but her jobs are soon to be taken over. So what are we really competing for? Don't forget. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead, do it now. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Listen, I understand that these topics are going to get more difficult. Yes, they are, and I understand that. I'm prepared for that. We told you in the beginning, like we said, watch the very first so you can understand. We're gonna go on a ride. It's gonna get more difficult, but we have to have these conversations. We can't be afraid of them. That's a whole part of the issue. But like, share, and subscribe so you can get the notification. Click that notification bell so you can get the next video, and we can keep this dialogue going. Hey, if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Put your comments in put your comments in. I'll see you on the next video.